punishment. People will test you. They'll say something sharp, throw a sarcastic comment, or poke at your weakest spot just to see if they can get a rise out of you. And in that moment, your emotions are waiting at the edge of the cliff, punishment, ready to jump. But here's the truth: how you respond in that moment says more about you than whatever words they just threw at you. Staying calm doesn't mean you didn't hear it. It doesn't mean you agree with it. It means you're strong enough not to let their chaos become your chaos. See, not every action deserves a reaction. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. When someone tries to trigger you, they're looking for fuel. They want to pull you into an argument, push you into anger, or drag you down to their level. And the moment you take the bait, they win. But when you stay calm, when you hold your peace, you take back the power. Because silence can be louder than shouting. Composure can cut deeper than any insult. And I get it, it's not easy. Your heart races, your mind starts firing off comebacks, and everything in you wants to respond, punishment. But here's where true strength lies: in the pause. When you pause, when you breathe, you're reminding yourself that you're in control, not them. That pause is power, punishment. It's a shield that protects you from saying something you'll regret later. Remember this: their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. If someone's trying to trigger you, punishment. It's usually because they're carrying their own frustration, their own insecurity, their own pain. They don't know where to put it, so they throw it at you. But you don't have to catch it. Punishment: you don't have to let their storm rain on your peace. And here's the beautiful part: when you stay calm, you change the dynamic. You set the standard for how you'll be treated. People realize real quick that you're not someone who can be easily shaken. And that earns respect even from the ones who tried to test you in the first place. Calm is not weakness. Calm is strength. It's easy to shout. It's easy to argue. It's easy to lose control. Anybody can do that. But staying steady, that takes discipline. That takes maturity. That takes a level of confidence that says, I know who I am, punishment, and I don't need to prove it to you. And if you're wondering how to practice this, start small. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of laying on the horn, just breathe. When a coworker throws a passive, aggressive comment your way, instead of snapping back, smile and let it roll off. Each time you choose calm, you're training yourself to handle bigger tests down the road. Because at the end of the day, you don't win by shouting louder. You don't win by matching their energy. You win by refusing to let someone else pull you off balance. Your peace is worth protecting. Your self-respect is worth guarding. Punishment. And the greatest victory is walking away with your dignity intact while they're still trying to figure out why their little trick didn't work. So the next time someone tries to trigger you, don't give them the satisfaction. Breathe, pause, stay calm. Because real power isn't in the reaction, it's in the restraint. Not every reaction deserves your energy. Silence and composure are often the most powerful responses. And if you really think about it, that truth can change the way you live your life. Because every single day, people, situations, and circumstances will try to pull something out of you: a rude comment, a disrespectful tone, someone cutting you off in traffic, punishment, a person questioning your worth when they don't even know your story. And in that instant, you're faced with a choice. Do you hand over your peace or do you protect it? The truth is, not every battle is worth fighting. Punishment. Not every statement deserves a comeback. Not every insult needs a response. When you react to everything and everyone, you're letting people control you like a puppet. They tug the string, you dance. They poke you, you snap. Punishment. But when you practice silence and composure, you cut the strings. You remind yourself that you're the one holding the pen to your story, not them. Now, silence is misunderstood. People think being silent means you're weak. Punishment, that you don't have anything to say or that you're letting someone walk over you. But here's what they don't realize: is silence is not surrender. Silence is strategy. Composure is not weakness. Composure is wisdom. Punishment, it's the ability to say, I see what you're trying to do, but I won't let you get that part of me. Imagine this: someone throws a spark, hoping it'll light a fire. But if there's no fuel, nothing burns. That's exactly what happens when you refuse to give your energy to unnecessary reactions. Their spark dies out. Their effort to get a rise out of you fails. And instead of being consumed by drama, you stand tall in peace. Because here's the thing: your energy is currency. Every time you react, you spend it. But not every person deserves to be paid with your attention. Not every situation deserves to drain you. When you learn to keep your peace, punishment, you're telling yourself, my energy is too valuable to waste on this. That's composure. That's self-respect. And let me be clear: staying silent doesn't mean you ignore real problems. Punishment, it doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you choose wisely, you speak when it matters, and you hold back when it doesn't. You fight the battles that build you, not the ones that break you. Punishment. Because maturity is knowing the difference between a hill to die on and a hill to walk past. Think about the most powerful people you know. They're not the ones yelling the loudest in every room. Punishment. They're not the ones constantly defending themselves against every little critique. They're the ones who carry themselves with quiet confidence. Their silence speaks louder than words. Their composure commands respect. Punishment. They don't have to shout about who they are. They show it in how they respond. When you master silence and composure, you stop playing other people's games. You stop letting their triggers work. And the irony is punishment. When they realize they can't shake you, they lose interest. You win by not playing. That's how you take back the power. So the next time someone tries to bait you, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Punishment. Or am I about to give a discount on my peace? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize it's not worth it. And walking away calm, walking away unbothered is far more powerful than anything you could have said in the moment. Punishment, because at the end of the day, silence protects your peace, composure protects your dignity, and together they send a message louder than words ever could. I know my worth. I know my value. Punishment, and I will not waste it on what doesn't build me. So remember this, your energy is sacred. Don't trade it for petty arguments, pointless debates, or unnecessary reactions. Sometimes the strongest move isn't to fight. Sometimes the strongest move is to stand still, stay calm, and let silence speak for you. Not every reaction deserves your energy. Some situations deserve nothing more than your peace. And when you master that, you don't just win the moment, you win yourself back. Their behavior reflects them. Now, you don't internalize someone else's chaos. That one sentence, if you really live by it, can free you from a lot of unnecessary stress. Punishment. Because here's what usually happens. Somebody shows up with an attitude, they speak with disrespect, or they lash out because they're carrying anger inside. And immediately you start to question yourself. Did I do something wrong? Was it my fault? Should I have handled it differently? But the truth is, most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It's about them. Their mindset, their wounds, their frustrations, punishment. You can't control what's inside someone else, but you can control whether you carry it home with you. Think about it like this. If someone walked into a room dripping with mud and they splashed some on you, would you rub it deeper into your clothes? Of course not. You'd clean it off and move on. But when you internalize someone else's chaos, punishment, that's exactly what you're doing, taking what they threw at you and rubbing it deeper into your own spirit. Their behavior is a mirror of their inner world. Punishment. Someone who is at peace doesn't go around trying to disturb everyone else's. Someone who's confident doesn't spend their time trying to tear others down. Someone who's whole doesn't feel the need to spread brokenness. Punishment. So when you see a person throwing chaos your way, remind yourself, this is about them, not me. But here's where we get stuck. We start personalizing it. We let their bad day become our bad day. Punishment. We take their words as a reflection of our worth. That's where we give away power. Because when you internalize their chaos, you're living in a storm that was never yours to begin with. And some of you are tired right now. Punishment. Not because of your own battles, but because you've been carrying storms that don't belong to you. Here's the freedom. You can choose not to pick it up. You can see their behavior for what it really is, a mirror of them, not a measurement of you. Their gossip, that's their insecurity speaking. Their anger, that's their lack of self-control. Their coldness, that's their wall, not your weakness. When you stop making it personal, punishment. You stop bleeding from wounds that were never yours to carry. And let me tell you, this doesn't mean you don't hold people accountable. It doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior. It just means you stop letting it define you. Punishment, you can address it, you can set boundaries, but you don't have to absorb it. You don't have to wear it like it's your identity. People project what's inside of them. If they're hurting, they'll try to hurt. If they're insecure, they'll try to belittle. If they're lost, they'll try to confuse others. But that projection only sticks if you accept it. And the most powerful thing you can say, even silently, is that belongs to you, not me. So the next time someone throws shade, pauses mid-conversation to make you feel small, or unleashes their frustration on you, step back, take a breath, and remind yourself, this is their reflection, punishment, not my reality. Their chaos doesn't get to live inside of you unless you open the door. The real victory is not when they change, it's when you stop letting their behavior change you. That's maturity. That's strength, punishment, and that's how you protect your peace. At the end of the day, people will come and go, but your self-worth stays with you. Don't let temporary storms from others leave permanent damage in your heart. You deserve better than that. Punishment. Their behavior reflects them. Your response reflects you, and that difference is everything. So let their chaos stay theirs. Protect your peace And remind yourself every single time, I am not who they say I am. Punishment. I am who I know I am. Pausing is power. When you stop to breathe before reacting, you reclaim control. Think about how many times in life the first words out of your mouth were the ones you later wished you could take back. Punishment. That one text you shouldn't have sent. That heated response you regret. That moment where your emotions ran the show instead of your wisdom. And afterward, you thought, if I'd just taken one breath, if I just paused for a second, punishment, I could have handled that differently. That's because the pause is where your power lies. Most people think power is in reacting quickly, in clapping back, in proving a point right away. But the real power is in holding yourself long enough to respond with clarity instead of emotion. Because when you pause, you shift the outcome. You stop letting the other person's words, actions, or tone hijack your self-control. The pause doesn't mean you ignore the problem. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you refuse to be a prisoner of impulse. See, anybody can react. That's the easy part. But pausing, that's where discipline shows up. Punishment, that's where wisdom lies. Because in the pause, you give yourself the chance to ask, is this worth my energy? Do I want to add fuel to this fire? Or do I want to put it out? Do I want to walk away with peace, punishment, or regret? When you pause, your emotions stop driving the car and your logic gets back behind the wheel. That split second can save a relationship, protect your peace, and keep your dignity intact. Punishment. It's the difference between escalating a conflict and ending it before it starts. It's the difference between showing maturity and showing weakness disguised as anger. Here's the truth. People who want to trigger you rely on your quick reaction. They thrive off that immediate snap, that explosion, that instant response. But when you pause, you take away their control. You remind them and yourself that you're not a puppet on their string. You're a person with choices. Think about the most respected leaders, mentors, or even the calmest people you know. They don't rush to respond. They pause. Punishment. They listen. They think. And then when they do speak, their words carry weight. Why? Because they weren't rushed. They weren't reactive. They were intentional. And intentional words change conversations. Punishment. Let me give you something practical. The next time you feel your blood boiling, stop. Take a deep breath early. That one breath creates a space between stimulus and response. And in that space lies your freedom. Punishment. Freedom to choose your reaction instead of being chained to your impulses. Freedom to redirect the situation instead of fueling it. Freedom to stay in control when everything around you is trying to pull you out of it. Punishment. And here's what happens when you practice this. People notice. They see that they can't easily rattle you. They start treating you differently, with more respect, because calmness commands attention. Punishment. Your pause becomes your signature strength. Now, don't get me wrong, this takes practice. You won't always get it right. Sometimes the words will slip out before you can catch them. But every time you practice pausing, you build that muscle. And over time, it becomes second nature. You start reacting less and responding more. You start choosing peace over pettiness. You start realizing that you don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. Punishment. Because here's the bottom line. When you pause, you protect yourself, you protect your relationships, you protect your reputation, and most importantly, you protect your peace. You reclaim control of your own story instead of handing it over to someone else's words or actions. So the next time you feel the urge to react, remind yourself pausing is not weakness. It's not silence out of fear. Punishment. Pausing is strength. Pausing is clarity. Pausing is power. Because when you stop to breathe before reacting, you don't just control the moment, you control yourself. And that's real power. Self-respect sets the tone. Staying calm shows confidence and maturity. And if you let that sink in, it will completely change how you carry yourself in every room you walk into. Because here's the truth. People will only treat you the way you allow them to. The standard you set for yourself becomes the standard others follow. And the moment you start living with self-respect, punishment, you teach the world how to treat you without ever having to say a word. Now, self-respect isn't about being loud. It's not about proving yourself, clapping back, or demanding attention. Real self-respect is quiet. It's steady. Punishment. It's the confidence that doesn't need an announcement. And the clearest sign of it, calm. When you can stay calm in the middle of chaos, you're showing people that you're not easily shaken, that you know your worth, punishment, and that you don't need to defend it every 5 minutes. Think about it. Anyone can lose their cool. Anyone can snap, yell, or storm out when they feel disrespected. That doesn't take strength. That takes impulse. But staying calm, punishment, that takes maturity. That takes knowing who you are. It takes a level of confidence that says, your behavior doesn't dictate mine. I control me. And here's what's powerful. Calmness shifts the atmosphere. Imagine someone trying to argue with you. Raising their voice throwing words like daggers. If you match their energy, the fire only grows. But if you stay calm, if you hold steady, you send a message without saying a word. I'm not going to meet you where you are. I'm going to stay where I am. And that unsettles them more than any comeback ever could. Self-respect is the anchor. Punishment. It keeps you grounded when someone else is trying to pull you into their storm. It's the shield that protects you from lowering yourself just to match their level. Because let's be honest, when you lose your calm, you lose control. And when you lose control, you hand over your power. But staying calm means you hold on to it. You show maturity by refusing to let temporary chaos steal your permanent dignity. People remember how you carry yourself more than what you say. They might forget your words, but they'll never forget the presence you brought into the room. And when that presence is calm, confident, and self-respecting, it leaves an impression that lasts far longer than anger ever could. Now, punishment. Some people will test you. They'll push your buttons trying to get a reaction, not because of you, but because of them, their insecurity, their immaturity, their need for control. But your calm tells them immediately, you can try punishment, but you won't move me. And that's where the respect is earned, not in raising your voice, but in keeping your peace. Let me be clear, self-respect isn't about staying quiet when you need to speak up. Punishment. It's not about letting people walk all over you. It's about choosing your battles wisely. It's about speaking when it matters and staying calm when it doesn't. It's about knowing the difference between defending your dignity and wasting your energy. And here's the beauty of it. When you live with self-respect, you don't need to demand respect from others. It naturally follows. Punishment. People sense it. They feel it in the way you carry yourself, the way you respond, the way you refuse to be shaken. Your calm becomes your strength. Your maturity becomes your proof. So the next time you feel disrespected, punishment. Before you let anger take over, stop and remind yourself, my calm is my power. My self-respect is my standard. Because when you respect yourself enough to stay calm, you're sending a clear message. I know my worth. I know my strength, and I won't lower myself to prove it. Self-respect sets the tone. Calm sets the example. And together, they speak louder than any argument ever could. You win by not playing their game. Peace is strength, punishment, not weakness. That's hard to swallow at first because everything in you wants to fight back, clap back, or prove a point. When someone comes at you sideways, when they try to bait you into their drama, punishment, your instinct is to match their energy. But here's the problem: the moment you step into their game, you've already lost. Because it's not about who's right anymore. It's about who can get dragged down the farthest. Punishment. And that's not a game worth playing. The truth is, not every fight is yours to fight. Some battles are traps disguised as opportunities to stand up for yourself. But real strength is knowing when to walk away. Punishment. Real confidence is realizing you don't have to prove anything to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. See, people will try to pull you into their chaos because they're comfortable there. It's where they live. Punishment. They thrive on arguments, on gossip, on negativity. And when you step into it, you've already given them what they wanted, your energy. But when you refuse to play, when you choose peace, you show a strength they can't compete with. Punishment. Because nothing rattles a person who's trying to get under your skin more than realizing they can't. Peace is power. Think about that. Anyone can shout. Anyone can slam doors, send nasty texts, or throw insults. Punishment. That doesn't take strength. That takes impulse. But to stay calm, to walk away with your dignity intact, that takes discipline. That takes maturity. Punishment. That takes the kind of confidence that doesn't need to win the argument to win the moment. And let's be honest, most games people try to pull you into are unwinnable anyway. If someone's committed to twisting your words, punishment, they'll twist them no matter how carefully you speak. If someone's determined to see you as the villain, they'll see you that way no matter how kind you are. You don't beat that by arguing louder. You beat it by not playing. Punishment. You beat it by protecting your peace and letting time reveal what's true. Choosing peace doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Weakness is letting someone else's behavior dictate yours. Punishment. Weakness is falling for the bait every single time. Strength is saying, I don't need to lower myself to your level. I'm not here to compete with chaos. Punishment. I'm here to protect my peace. And here's the powerful part. When you live this way, people notice. They realize you're not someone who can be easily shaken. You're not someone they can manipulate into drama. You're steady. Punishment. You're grounded. And that earns a kind of respect no loud argument ever could. Now, let me be real with you. This isn't easy. It takes practice. It takes swallowing your pride sometimes. It takes resisting the urge to prove yourself. But every time you walk away, every time you choose peace over pettiness, you're reminding yourself, my energy is valuable. My peace is priceless. Punishment. And I won't waste either on a game that can't be won. So the next time someone tries to drag you into a fight, stop. Ask yourself, if I win this argument, do I actually win? Or do I just lose my peace? 9 times out of 10, punishment. The answer is clear. The real win is walking away with your dignity. The real win is showing you're not controlled by someone else's chaos. The real win is choosing peace, because at the end of the day, peace is not weakness. Punishment, it's strength, it's control, it's freedom. You win not by shouting louder, but by refusing to be moved. You win not by playing their game, but by choosing not to step onto the field at all. And that kind of win, that's the kind that lasts.